Hello guys, welcome back to Coding Cafe. My name is Mohammed Ali and in this tutorial we are going to start work on the chats fragment. Basically, before moving to that, we need to start work on our message activity where basically a user will write a message, or if a user can send image to different people. I mean with whom a user want to start chatting with. So anyways, let's just start working on that. So for that we need to create a separate activity, I mean a new one. So activity, a blank empty activity, and the name of this activity will be message chat activity. So the activity has been created successfully. Now the next thing is, let's come here and we need to design this quickly. So change this constant layout to the relative layout, and now it will be match parent, height will be rep content, and let's just change the background color, and we can use e6 e6, which is pure white. Here you can see it on your screen. Now just for the time saving, I'm going to the main activity, and from here I'm just going to, not from here, let's come here to the register activity, and from here I'm going to just copy this app bar layout alongside with the toolbar. Okay, so just copy this. Instead of writing it again, we can just copy it from here and then we can just paste it here. And now the next thing is, since this is our message chat activity, so we can give it name as I mean the ID as message chat, toolbar message chat, and to this we can give ID as bar layout underscore message chat. And now inside our this toolbar, what we are going to do is we need to add basically a circle image view, which will be 32 dp high width and 32 dp height. Let's just close this. And now the next thing is basically, here let's give ID to this. So the ID for this one will be profile underscore image underscore message chat. MC means message chat, just to keep the ID unique. Okay, mchat. So anyways, this is our circle image view, and after this circle image view we need to display the username alongside with the image. And let's just add a source to it just to check the design. So we can add the, we have inside the drawable folder we have a profile, this icon. Okay, hope you can see it. Anyways, now the next thing is to add quickly a text. We have content, ID for this will be username mchat, and then after it we need to give it some text size. The text size for this will be 18 sp, and margin from the left will be 26 dp, and the text color will be Android color white. And let's add some text so that we can see how it looks. Let's say your name is John, so it will display your name here like John, or let's say if your name is Ali, then it will display name Ali here. I mean obviously you will retrieve and display it here. The text style will be bold, and yeah, that's it. Now next thing is, after this app bar layout, what we need is to basically add a recycler view, and it will be match parent. Let's give ID to this, and we can give name to this as recycler underscore view underscore chats. and this will below our this app bar. So we can say layout below and pass the ID of our app bar layout, which is bar layout message chat. You can see it moves like this. Let's give some background color to it, which will be hash triple F three times F. And then after this recycler view, what we need is to basically add another relative layout, which will be match parent, height will be wrap content. Let's just close this. And now we need to give some padding from all the sides. It will be 6 dp, and align parent bottom to true. And let's give id to our this relative layout, since we need to move, I mean, this recycler view above over this relative layout. So first we have to add the edit text, a button, two buttons basically. So anyways, let's just give id to it, and we can give it name as relative layout bottom. And then inside this relative layout, what we need is basically to add an image view 40 dp and 40 dp. Let's close this, and id for this will be attach image file. This will be our, this image view will work as our attach image file button. Okay, so the next thing is, and by the way, the background for this will be ic attach file, align parent start to true, and align parent left to true. Now once we have this, the next thing is, after this we need to add quickly an edit text, which will be match parent wrap content. And let's give id to this first. So we can give id to this as text underscore message, text message. And the next thing is background. For this will be Android transparent. Hint will be, you can say, write message here. And we can move this to left of attach image file. Sorry, it's to right of attach image file, and then center vertical to true, margin left 6 dp, margin right 6 dp. That's it. Now the last thing is to add a send button. So we can just, what we are going to do is just quickly copy paste this image view below our this edit text, and make sure to change this to send underscore message underscore btn. Also let's add in here, we can say underscore btn attach image file button. And then the next thing is, okay, here also make sure to change the attach image file btn id to right of. So 40 dp 40 dp ic action name, align parent end to true, and align parent right to true, just like this. Here you can see it. And then here we can say that after this to left of id, and paste this id here. Here you can see it. And also we have to move over this recycler view above our this relative layout. So what we are going to do is Here we give ID to our this relative layout, which is relative layout bottom. So copy this ID, and then here we can say above ID and paste that, and here you can see it is moved above. Now what we are going to do is remove this background from it. Okay, and then this is our relative layout, so paste that here. Now it looks more interesting, I mean beautiful. So anyways, that's it. Now let's just go back to, quickly go back to the message chat activity.kotlin file, and here we need to do is when a user types a message here in the edit text and click on the send button, then what we are going to do. So for that, let's just set a click listener on our send message. We can copy this ID, come here, and then here we can say just paste this ID. Make sure to import this dot set on click listener. So if a user click on it, first of all we need to get the text from this edit text. So let's create a variable by the name msg, message, and we have our edit text ID, which is text message. Copy this, come back here, then we can say dot text dot string. So let's add a condition here. If the message is null, if message become equals to null, then we have to just tell the display a toast message to user to write something, otherwise we will save it to database. So come here to the register activity, and from here I'm going to just copy this toast message. So copy this, come back and just paste that here. And now the next thing is we are on the message, sorry, not here, above. So we have to say that, tell the user that please write a message first, and we are on the message chat activity, so we have to give the activity name is message chat activity, and then we are calling a function which you will create now, which is by the name send message to user. That's it, and we have to pass our first two things basically, sorry, not a semicolon. First we have to get the Firebase user and also the message, and one more important thing is that is which user to which user basically we are going to send this message. So it is the user which an online user will select. That is, let's say I am Muhammad Ali, I am an online user, I want to send message to John, so I will just click on John's profile and it will send me to the chat activity. So we have to get the John ID also, and which we can get from our, if we go back to our user adapter, then here if a user inside this on bind view holder, what we are going to do is for user click on any user profile, which we can get using holder dot item view dot set on click listener. And basically here what we want to do is we want to display a dialog box, since we will display two options to the user. So anyways, we can say array of chart sequence. So the first option that we will have is send message in this dialog box, and the second one is basically to visit profile of that person. And then after this we can just say builder alert dialog dot builder equals to alert dialog dot builder, and here we need to pass the context. Let's set a title for this, so you can say builder dot set title, and title will be what do you want, which simply means This will be the title of the dialog box, and these two options will be available, which is send message, visit profile. So if a user want to send message, user will click on this option, otherwise visit profile. So then we can set these items. So we can say builder.set items option, comma, dialog interface dot on click listener, and the index for the first option is 0 and for the second one is 1 by default. Okay, so if a user click on the first option, how we know about it? If this is here, we can see if which. Now this dialog and this which basically represent the position. You can also change the name of it if you want, like let's say I'm going to change this to position, okay, which is just name. So position become equals to, so if the position is 0, it means the user click on the send message button, and if the position is equals to 1, then the user wants to visit the profile of that person. Now here, let's just copy the intent from our register activity for the time saving. I'm going to copy this, come back here, and then paste that. So we are on the message chat activity, so I'm just going to send context, and we are going to send the user to the message chat activity class.java, and alongside with that, what we want is basically we want to send some information, and that something in some information is basically 10.put the user ID basically. Okay, so we can give it like the person profile who which we are going to visit. Okay, so I'm going to give it name as visit ID or profile ID, that is that person on which I will click. Let's say I click on John profile, so I'm visiting John profile. Okay, so I give it name as visit ID, and then we can get it using user dot get ID, get UID. That's it. And then we can just simply say that context dot start activity for the intent. And since you know that we have not yet created the activity for displaying the profiles of different users, so we will keep this position equals to 1 empty. Okay, but later on in the upcoming video tutorials we will work on it anyways. For now, let's just keep it like that. Now we have to first of all receive this visit ID when a user come from the search fragment. So in order to receive it, we need to go back to our message chat activity, and here we need to create a variable by the name variable user ID. User ID, let's give it name as visit. User ID visit, which will be of string type, and let's initialize this with a simple null. And then here inside our on create, we can say user ID visit equals, first we can say that intent equals to intent, and then by using the intent dot get string extra, and here all we need is just to provide the same ID, which is visit underscore ID. So copy it and then paste it here. So it will get the value, I mean the ID from there. It will store it inside the string type variable, which is with user ID visit. And also let's just get the Firebase user. So we can say our Firebase user, type Firebase user. Let's initialize this with null. And now down here we can say that Firebase user equals to Firebase auth dot instance dot get instance dot current user. So yeah, now we know that, I mean, this Firebase user will send a message to this user whose, I mean, this visit ID we have, that is, let's say to John or to Peter Parker. I mean, on which profile we want, we click basically, and online user click, and to whom we want to send a message. So we have both the IDs now, I mean the sender ID, which is Firebase user, and the receiver ID, which is user ID visit. So anyways, let's just send this as a parameter. The first one is basically Firebase user.uid, and the second parameter that we will send is basically the user ID wizard, and then the third one is basically the message. Let's just create this function, create function send message to user. So here you can see it has been created, and now in here, so yeah, that's it. And once again, let me tell you, which is this is the message, and this one user ID wizard is basically our receiver, RECIVER receiver ID, the message receiver ID to whom we will send a message, and this UID is basically the sender ID. So yeah, that's it. Now the next thing is, let's just create a reference quickly. Firebase database dot get instance dot reference, and then we need to create a unique key for each and every message in order to store it inside the database. So we can say reference dot push dot key, and then the next thing is to create a hash map. So we can give it name as message hash map, which will be hash map, and this will be of type string any. So message hash map, the first thing that we will store is basically the sender, the value of which is saved inside the sender ID, and then let's just copy paste this 5 times 5, and then we have the message which the sender is going to send to the receiver and restore inside the message ID. Then we have the receiver, and the value of which is stored inside the receiver ID. The next thing that we want to save is basically the scene option. So we will obviously work on it in the upcoming tutorials. For now, we will send this with a default value which will be false, is seen, and the message ID obviously. Please make sure to use the same names, okay, because we will be using all these. I mean, these are basically our childs, subchilds, for storing all our messages from all the users who will be using our this app, and we will on the basis of these childs we will retrieving these data in the upcoming video tutorials. So make sure to please use these same variables, otherwise you will get confused and you will be thinking that what is going on, okay. So that's why I'm suggesting this. So URL is basically for the images file that user will send. So in case of text message, we will just send it with a null, and is seen URL, and then the message ID basically we just store inside the message key variable. That's it. So we have to save this. So we can say dot child, and we will, for storing all the messages or chats, we are going to create a separate node which will be a parent node for all the messages, which will be by the name chats, and let's just save it under that. So we can say child and then pass the message key, since each message will carry their own unique ID, and under that unique ID we will save the information for this unique message. I mean, for this unique ID, since you know that each message carry a unique ID. So anyways, we can say dot set value and pass the message hash map to it. That's it. Now this is all about saving the chats, I mean the message to database. Since you know that we have another fragment on which we have not yet worked, which is basically our chats fragment, where we are displaying the last messages from each user, just like you guys see in WhatsApp and other Facebook Messenger type chat applications, okay. We are basically, we will display all the chats with the last message, and also if there are, let's say, a number of chats, let's say John send you 5 messages, so it will display a 5 batch get 5 messages from John, I mean at the top basically, or let's say John send you 5 messages and then Peter Parker send you 6 messages, so overall 11 messages, right? So at the top, I mean on our main activity, which is our tab app bar layout, where we will display this badge that is you have like 11 unread messages. Hope you understand the whole idea, and hope that you have watched the first introductory video in which we have displayed the overall app features. Okay, so we will be, for that we have to store our chat list. So for that what we need to do is we are going to, let's just add on complete listener on it. So you can say add on complete listener task. If this task is successful, we are going to save something for our chat list, which we will display on our chats fragment. So if the task is successful, so we are going to save data for the chat list. So let's create a reference here, and we can give it name as chats list reference dot child, and this will be by the name chat lists. Just give it name as chat list. Okay, chat list. So we can say chat list dot child id dot set value, and we have to pass the Firebase user dot uid, and then what we need is, just copy this, reference Firebase database get instance dot reference dot child users dot child, and pass the Firebase user dot uid. Now here I'm going to leave a comment, because this section we will continue when we will start work on the notifications, okay, using the Firebase cloud messaging. So we will do that in the upcoming tutorials. So implement the notifications, push notifications. So this is just a comment, which means that we will obviously continue this part for the notifications in the upcoming tutorials. For now we have to just complete our, I mean we have already completed our chat thing, that is we have stored the message to the database at the I mean in our chats with a unique key for each message, and also we have stored it for the, and we have saved it to our chat list, on the basis of which we will display and retrieve the last message sent to a receiver on the chats fragment. So hopefully you understand this, and this is basically the part that we will continue when we will be implementing the notification, the push notifications. Okay, so up to here we have done all these things, and one more thing is basically we have to now retrieve the information, which is the profile picture, the username of the receiver, and we have to display it there. So since we have the IDs here, so what I'm going to do is, let's just copy this reference from here, and then inside our own create, quickly we can do this also. Well, reference up to the users, and we are receiving, I mean retrieving the information for our user ID visit, and then we can say reference dot add value event listener object colon value event listener on data change, and then on cancelled. Inside our on data snap on data change, can say well user, which represents our model class. So model class or dot get value users class dot java user. What is the ID for our username? It is username chat mchat. So come here, pass that dot text user dot get username. And then the next thing is to display the picture, which we can display easily by also dot get dot load. You can get it using user dot get profile dot into. And what is the ID for our this view, which is profile image chat. So that's it. Sorry. So till now what we done is basically we retrieve and display the receiver image and receiver name here, and the next thing that we are done, which we have done earlier, is basically to send a textual message to a user, which we done here. Okay, if a user click on the send message button, which you can see here, and also we have saved it to our chat list in order to retrieve and display the last messages for each user and to display the badges for unread messages. Now the next thing is basically we have to implement the next feature in this tutorial is to send the image file to the receiver. So for that a user will obviously click on this file. So let's just get the ID of this, which is copy this ID, message, come here to the message chat activity, and below our this inside on create. Okay, below our send message button we can set click listener on it, and if a user click on it, what we want to do is we want to send the user to the mobile phone gallery. So we can say that, well, intent equals to intent dot action, intent dot get action content, action get content, intent dot type. The type is obviously image slash static. Start activity for result. Start activity for result. Intent dot create chooser. Select image, or you can say pick image, and then we have we have to pass the request code. So 438 will be the request code. So once the user click on this attach image file button, we will send the user to the mobile phone gallery, from where the user will select an image. Now once the user select image, we have to get that image file, and which we can get easily by just calling onActivity result method. We can say onActivity result function. And sorry, here the first parameter is the intent, comma, put a comma, and the second one is basically the title. So yeah, that's it. Now come here, and here we can save the bottom, that is onActivity result, this function. So here we have to add our condition first. We will check if the request code is equals to 438 and result code becomes equals to result okay, and data is not equals to null, data is not equals to null, and we have to send it, and we have to basically display a loading bar, which is basically our progress dialog. So progress dialog, loading bar dot message, and we can just tell the user that is please wait image is sending. Loading bar dot show, and then we have to store it inside the Firebase storage. So you can say, well, file URI equals data.data, and let's create a reference to our storage. So we can say storage reference Firebase storage dot get instance dot reference dot child, and we are going to create a separate folder inside the storage for saving all the chat images. So we can just give it name as chat images, and then we need to create a reference to the database in order to save these chat images to the database. Also, once it is successfully downloaded to the storage, as you know that we can access these images using the download URL. So we can create reference, which will be Firebase database dot get instance dot reference, well, message push id, which is a unique key, okay, or you can also give it name the same name which we give, which is message id, a unique id for storing each message, just like we save the text messages earlier. So we can say a reference dot push dot key, and then we can say, well, file path equals storage reference dot child dollar message push id message id, which is this unique id, okay, and we can say dot jpg, and let's just upload it. So for the time saving, what I'm going to do is we need to just go to the settings fragment. From here I will just copy this some piece of code which we have already written here, and that is basically our this upload task and this thing, okay. Just copy it up to here, then come back to the message chat activity and then just paste it here. So once you paste this, remove this upload task from here. Okay, wait a second. So what upload task, storage task, okay, then we have file path dot put file, and it is stored inside our file URI, and upload task dot continue with task. Make sure to import this continuation, and then we can, once it is uploaded successfully, we can get the path by using, it will return the file path dot download URL, and we can add dot add on complete listener task. So if the task is successful, what we are going to do, we are just going to copy this code from here. I mean, it is to save the image file or image to the database, basically the download URL. So I just pasted that here on the message chat activity. So we get the download URL, and then remove this if else, and now we need to save over this URL just like we save a text message. So come here above to the top where we are saving this, okay, this thing. So just we need to copy this and then come down here and just paste that here. So the sender ID we can get using our Firebase user dot uid, and the message is just here we can say send you an image, sent you an image, sent you an image, okay. Please make sure to use the same sentence, okay. On the basis of this sentence we will retrieve the unread messages for the files on our chats fragment. So please use this same one, okay. We will use a condition, I mean we will add a condition in the upcoming tutorials on the chats fragment which will work for the unread messages for the pictures, okay. So that's why I use this specific sentence here. So anyway, the receiver is stored inside our user ID visit, and is seen by default will be false, and the URL is stored inside the URL variable. And the next thing is the message ID. That's it. So once it is done, the next thing we can say that reference.child, and we have to set to chats node dot child message ID dot set value, and what is the message hash map. So yeah, that's it. So before testing the application, one thing is, if you come here to the user adapter, one thing which you forgot is basically to add a builder.show. Otherwise it will not show our dialog box. So make sure to add here builder.show. And on our message activity, one more thing is we need to check here is on activity result. If the request code is 438, result code is result okay, if it is becoming equals to result okay, and data not equals to null. Let's add one more thing is, and data, which is that the intent must not be null, since data represent our intent. And about this progress, let's come here to the settings, and on the settings, if we check here, we have a well progress dialog. Copy this, come back here. I guess we have write the correct thing here, just like this. In order to get the context, we have to write this. So image is uploading, please wait. The rest of the things are okay. And the next thing is, come here, and whenever the user send a message, we have to make our edit text empty after sending the textual message. Okay, send message button, and here we can say that text message dot set text to none. That's it. And one more thing is, just like we did here, whenever a user send a text message, we are storing it inside the chats, okay, and we are also saving that to our chat list. And as I already explained, that chat list we will basically use, and by mistake I write the comment here, and chat list we will basically use for retrieving the total number of unread messages, and also the last message for on our chats fragment. You will understand this when we will be working on it in the upcoming video tutorials, in the upcoming lectures. And we forgot to add one more thing is dot child firebase user dot uid dot child, and we have to save also the id of the receiver. So only in that case we can retrieve and display both the sender and receiver to each other on the chats fragment in the upcoming lectures. So it is by the name user id visit. So chatlist.child firebase user.id.child user id visit. So that's it. So after it, we have to say that checklist reference dot add listener for single value event object colon value event listener, and then we have on data change, and then we have another one on cancelled, and cut this from here, and inside the on data change we have to say that if po dot exist, then we can set the value chat reference dot child id dot set value to the not the firebase but the user id visit. So this one we are doing it for the sender. Okay, under the sender we are saving the receiver. So to the sender it is none that this is the receiver. Now we have to do the same for the receiver, just like we did here. So what we are going to do is just copy this, and below this we can just paste that here, and now we can give it name is that is chat list receiver reference. So in order to do that, what we need to do is first we need to pass here the user ID visit, and then we have to pass the Firebase user.uid, which is the online user ID by the way. And then we can set the value for our Firebase user ID just like we did here for the receiver. And Firebase user, as I told you, is basically for the sender. So chat list receiver reference, make sure to change this. Okay, here you can see it .id. Here we need to pass the Firebase user.uid. So this code is basically all about adding the user, adding sender to the receiver chat list on the chats fragment. Obviously we will retrieve it in the upcoming lectures, okay, and adding the sender for the receiver, and then adding receiver for the sender. Hope you understand this. And now when we run the application, you will see it how it works. And the good thing is we can move this control X inside this chat list reference. Below this if statement we can paste it. Okay, make sure to add here this exclamation marks, which means that if data snapshot not exist, which means that this thing, if this thing is not exist from before, then we can add this thing, which is to the chat list. For the online user we have to add the receiver. Here you can see it. And then for the receiver we have to add the sender. That's it. Now let's just test the application to see if it is working fine or not. So the app is running now successfully, and now let's just send message to Peter. Hello. Here you can see it. Chats and chat list has also been created. So chats, a unique ID for each message, and then the message information, all the information. And then a chat list has been created. Here you can see it. 93. If I show you, 93 is Peter, which is the receiver. Okay, so this code executed, which is the receiver, this one. So under the chat list we have the receiver ID, and then below dot child the sender ID, which is, if we extend this, GF is the ID of Elizabeth438, since you know that I am now currently the online user, or you can say the sender of the message. Okay, so the receiver, sender, and then the ID of the sender. So it means that we have created a chat list for the receiver, and same thing we did here for the sender, which is GF, which is LIZDB438. If I show you, so a chat list has been created. For sender we will display the receiver info on the chats fragment in the upcoming video tutorial, and for the receiver we will display the sender info on the chats fragment, and for the sender we will display the receiver info. Send image feature. So let me just an image, and it is going to sending. Image is uploading, please wait. And here we go. Here you can see it. Here we go. Here you can see it. That's it. And in order to, whenever the file is sent successfully, make sure to add here, whenever we send it, after this make sure to dismiss the loading bar. So we can say loading, so it is by the name progress bar. Okay, since you know that it is by name progress bar, so we have to dismiss this, not dismiss. Okay, make sure to add this at the end inside when we upload the image. Okay, on activity result. So yeah, that's it for this video, and in the next tutorial we will be retrieving the information, and we will be retrieving the messages, and we will display it on the message chat activity. Also then we will move and we will retrieve and display the chat list.